Hello everyone, hoping everyone is having a good one. If you are new here, end up enjoying today's content, all I can ask you to do is to go ahead and hit that like button and red subscribe button as well. And just to convince you a little bit, on our first official roster update predictions, we got 18 out of 19 players correct, and we do roster update predictions every single Saturday and Sunday, hitters edition on Saturday and pitchers edition on Sunday. And we will do it regardless of whether or not on the upcoming Friday there will be a tribute update prediction. I do it regardless just so you guys have a heads up on investments for the future. So we had 10 hitters last weekend, and we have carried over 5 out of the 10 hitters into the final roster update predictions for the second week of hitters. So the first one is Adam Eaton. Now, I'm not going to go over his stats or his 3-year averages, I should say, because I already discussed it on a previous video. So for the first 5 players, I'm just going to recap how they've been doing in the last 14 days. So Adam Eaton carries over because he has been hitting .347 in the last 14 days, and his average and slugging against lefties is still rising. So I still see him only going up, although by 1 overall to a 78 overall. Next is Chin-Soo Choo. Chin-Soo Choo in the last 14 days, he's been hitting .333, and I still see him getting plus right and having his left-handed attributes adjusted a little bit, but I do see him hitting silver at a 75 overall. Next is Josh Bell. I see Josh Bell just getting that plus right attribute upgrade and becoming a 75 overall. Had a 77 for him last week. I notched it down to a 75 overall because his lefty numbers did not really improve by much. Now David Fletcher, I had him at a 73 to 74 overall range last week. This week we're going to do plus right attributes upgraded and give him a 74 overall. And then last but not least, coming over from last week is Omar Narvaez. Now last week I had him at a 71/72 overall. This week, I'm going to go ahead and give him a 72 overall. His right-handed attributes will be going up. And in the last 14 days, he has been hitting .276. And David Fletcher, I forgot to mention, he had been hitting .300 in the last 14 days. Now, let's go into some players that were not announced last week. So the first one is Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, since 2017, has been hitting .283, slugging .577 against righties, .249, slugging .471 against lefties. Versus righties this year, he's hitting .500, slugging .1.16. Versus left-handers, .303, slugging .727. He is definitely more than worthy of back-to-back updates, and I see him going diamond without an issue because his numbers have been insane so far this year. Next on our list is going to be Josh Reddick. Josh Reddick since 2017 has been hitting .287, slugging .443 against righties. Versus lefties, he's hitting .289, slugging .473. This year against righties, he's hitting .381, slugging .508. Versus lefties, he's hitting .308, slugging .615. I see his right-handed attributes going up, and his left-handed attributes going up as well, minorly. So not as much, but I do see him going up to a gold, so 80 overall. Tim Anderson, another hitter similar to Cody Bellinger that deserves to get back-to-back updates because he is still on fire. So since 2017, this is crazy. He's been averaging against right-handers .239 in terms of batting average and .394 in terms of slugging. Versus left-handers, he was averaging .307, slugging .472. This year against right-handers, he's currently hitting .417, slugging .733. Versus left-handers, he's hitting .370, slugging .407. So I see his right-handed attributes getting upgraded once again, and his left-handed attributes being touched minorly. I see him going up to a 77 to 78 overall. Not gold just yet, but if he keeps this pace of play up in a month or two, I can definitely see it. Jason Hayward. Now since 2017, Jason Hayward versus right-handers has been hitting .264, slugging .411, versus left-handers .285, slugging .386. This year, .313, slugging .583 against right-handers, .368, slugging .526 against left-handers. I see Contact versus left being upgraded minorly, and his power versus left definitely getting a good boost that will push him to an 80 overall. He already has diamond fielding, so if he gets that silver tier hitting, he's a gold without a doubt. Next on our list is a player that was previously a gold. He got downgraded to a silver, but he's right on the verge of gold, and I think this week will be the week where he actually goes gold. Now, since 2017, Michael Brantley has been hitting 317, slugging 506. Left-handers, he's been hitting 284, slugging 373. This year, 329, 575 in terms of right-handers, and versus left-handers, 321, slugging 429. So I see his power versus right being increased, and then his left-handed attributes being increased as well, getting him up to an 80 overall. And just so there's no confusion, whenever I say two numbers back to back, for example 300 and 475, that is the average followed by the slugging. Next on our list is Yohan Moncada. So since 2017, Yohan Moncada has been hitting 250, slugging 462 versus right-handers. Versus left-handers, he's hitting 222, slugging 321. So clearly he has done an atrocious job at hitting left-handers. This year versus right-handers, he's currently hitting 328, slugging 672. And versus left-handers, he's hitting 313, slugging 438. So clearly, big, humongous improvements. I see his attributes versus right-handers being upgraded minorly because he did get touched up a little bit last week. And versus left-handers, minorly as well, since he did get touched up a bit last week, but I see it being enough for him to go to a 75 overall gold, or 75 overall silver I should say, since he was a silver previously and he is performing very well. So him going back to a silver without a doubt makes perfect sense, so you can count on that. Last but not least, we have Hunter Dozier. Now versus right-handers, since 2017 he's been hitting 261, slugging 502, versus left-handers an atrocious 208, slugging 300. But this year versus right-handers, he's currently hitting 352, slugging 759, and versus left-handers 238, slugging 381. So clearly the dude is a platoon hitter that hits better against his own side, and I see him going up to 71 overall just on the simple fact that his power numbers, or I should say his right-handed attributes, will be increased back-to-back weeks. I think they're not at the right amount for him, so a small increase should allow him to get up to 71 overall. But if he wants to go into the next tier, I think that he's definitely going to have to work on hitting against lefties, and once he gets those numbers up, silver could be in his future. Anyways, once again, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, all I can ask you to do is go ahead and hit that like button and red subscribe button. Once again, we do this every single week, and regardless of whether or not there is a roster update on the Friday coming up, and we are pretty accurate, so you don't want to miss out. And I usually try to give a good heads up on investments, and if you got any investment questions in general, you can also just leave it down in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them and help you guys make the most stubs available. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, don't forget to hit that like button and red subscribe button, and I'll catch you all in the next one.